Welcome back to the Talk Up podcast, and we got our first guest, and she's part of the team actually. Would you like to introduce yourself?
So I'm Anne McKinney, and I cover the Midlands for sales for Navitas.
So obviously a lot of electricians are watching this, and I'm starting to learn about like the rep game, and Anne seems like a veteran in this and how it works. So if you want to, can you like explain a little bit, just basic, how the whole from suppliers to Navitas, how it kind of works?
So I think from my perspective, I'm not like a standard rep. I'm a self-employed, so I work as a sales agent. So if I don't sell product, I don't get paid. So it makes me, if you like, a lot hungrier than maybe, actually that's a bit controversial to say that, but because I don't have a salary, I have to get out of bed and do some work. So for me to come to ELEX and be part of Navitas today is fabulous, because I can sit here, I can get in front of the contractors, drive the business, then get hold of the wholesalers and say, look, we've got your customers here, they're really interested in the product, and then I can sell through hopefully and get more stockists.
Yeah.
So it's good.
Yeah, so we'll like hire people like yourselves in different areas, and then with your contacts, they're hoping that they can get
as much business as possible.
Into wholesale.
Yeah.
And stuff. So, yeah, it's quite interesting. I just never even thought that was like a process of anything.
Yeah.
And have you got like a little team yourself that you have?
Yeah. So I have Lucy who works with me. Lucy is like absolute angel. She is office angel and Girl Friday. So I literally go and see the customers. She then sends follow-ups, quotes. So we've spoken today to probably 20 plus really keen contractors that want to look at our product in a serious way. I have to say, mainly because they say, oh, we've watched it on Instagram, we know you lot. Yeah. Kept having people, where's Jimbo, to have a photo. You're like a celeb. So yeah, it's been great, because then Lucy will follow that up. She'll also copy in Will, and we'll just get as much business as we can from this.
And I'm guessing it's all like a commission kind of basis.
So Will sometimes pays. No, he does. He's really good. He's really fab, actually. I mean, I've worked with Will for years. But yeah, he's brilliant. So yeah, we get the business. We try and get stockists. One of the biggest things, which has been a big advantage for Navitas and for me selling it, is that we don't open up multiple stockists in an area. So, for example, in Nottingham, we have a couple of key stockists.
Okay.
So there's not this like complete pricing down to the bottom. It's not, everyone's making margin, everyone's making money. And for a contractor, the homeowner can't go online and go, well, I can see this board being sold cheap, because it's not there. It's not online going cheap.
Yeah, I got you. So have you always been like in the sales game?
Yeah.
So you're just a sales.
I am just a sales bitch.
Even just watching you on the stand, people are just minding their own business, walking past you, shouting at them, coming like, I could never do that.
Well, I do.
Confidence kind of.
Well, I think if I don't, my mortgage is going to, I'm probably not going to have a roof over my head. So I just chat, and that's it. It's just about chatting and listening.
Yeah. Is the whole, what you've just explained, changed in like the last 10 years? Or is
massively.
It always, is that because of online, or is it just?
Massively, online's affected. And I think actually even the online companies now are getting tired of this race to the bottom, and they're wanting to make margin as well. Okay. I think definitely when COVID hit, there was a massive shift to online and people not going out, obviously. And I think, though, it's creeping back in where customers are wanting to see people again. They're wanting to, have face-to-face meetings more. Yeah. And online, it has its place. It's brilliant. Let's face it, we all order up to 9 o'clock at night from companies, and you get it next day. It's brilliant. But there is still that customer service where people want to be able to buy it, they want to look at the product, and actually someone to go back to when it all goes wrong. That is the big bonus of wholesaling, that they can go in and swap it for another one within an hour, and they're not having to wait to send it back, then have it back. So you need stockists.
Yeah, I think a lot of electricians don't realise how important it is for people to go into your wholesaler and actually buy things, and not buying things off. Like I would never have known, and a lot of people won't even know the effect of that.
and how much we do going
Yeah.
in, and actually doing trade days in the wholesalers. It's a massive thing. And actually, for the contractors, it's massive, because where I've been going in the Midlands and doing trade mornings and talking to contractors, how can I feed back without talking to people like yourself on the counter and them saying to me, actually, we need more space in the board? One of the things they hated was putting all the devices in and then everything's dropping in. So, if we don't get that feedback, we can't improve the product.
So stuff like that. So if like contractors come to you in a wholesaler, you'll like kind of feed that back to Will as well?
Massively, absolutely. Because without that feedback, I mean, I've just collared a couple of contractors today and said, look, fit the board, review it.
Yeah.
Me and Lucy will chuck you a cheeky Nando's voucher. We're not doing that for everyone across the UK, just the Midlands. So any Midlands watching, get in touch. But if we do that, because if we get the real feedback, we can grow the business, because contractors do listen to each other. Because me as a rep, I'm going to say, the sky's blue. Look how blue it is, you know.
For yourself, I'm guessing it's not just one product you sell, though. I'm guessing you've got like a range of different...
I do, yeah.
Is that boards as well, or is it like...
I love selling this. I then tie it in with other products that I do as well. So I also do work with Eaton, Project EV on EV, solar, do so many different product ranges. It's great because I'm selling lots of different things, but Navitas is my favourite. I have to say that, otherwise Will will kill me.
How do you learn all the stuff about the products? Do you have to go to like training days? Or?
Yeah.
Oh, so you've got to have like training days for each product?
I do. I probably sold for Will for a long time before I properly understood the product, but thankfully I always had him in the background stepping in. I do understand the boards now a lot more.
Yeah.
And because of that, I think Will will be the first to tell you my sales have gone up.
I suppose the more you know about the product, the more you can train.
Because, contractors don't want to come and chat to me and me list off unique selling points. They actually want me to be able to tell them what's going on in the board, understand bi-directional, things like that. They don't just want me bleating stuff. So, you do. And Lucy and I have got much more involved in doing training so we can be more informative.
I can imagine it's quite difficult, though. Obviously, you're not an electrician, so to understand some technical things must be quite difficult to get your head around.
Massively. And I think a lot of the time when I talk to contractors, getting information from them means that actually I learn more. And the biggest thing is I'd never blag a contractor. If they ask me something and I don't know, I say, can I come back to you?
Yeah, I think that's a better way, isn't it?
Because otherwise I could cause a fire, and that's really not good.
No, well, that's it. I appreciate you coming on.
No,
I know he's a bit nervous, but it's not too bad, is it?
No, it's not. It's fine. But if it adds £10, you better do something to make me look thinner.
That's where I'll speak to Will on that one. No, thank you for coming on. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Right, cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Welcome back to Talk Up, and we got a new guest I should say, from the brand Enkin, and it's a dimmer company. I'm going to let you introduce yourself first, and then we'll go on to you. So if you'd like to introduce yourself first.
My name's Lily, and I manage all the stock for Enkin.
Okay, and what about yourself?
My name's Don, and I'm the technical specialist for Enkin.
So how long has Enkin been around? I'll be totally honest, I've not really heard of the brand myself. So has it been is it quite new? Has it been around a while?
We've been selling for about 2.5 years, but this is the first year where we've really tried to push the brand and get our name out there.
Yeah. Do you find it's quite difficult for marketing with? I found that there's a lot of lighting companies, and I'm guessing control gear for lighting as well. Is it difficult to try and get marketing out there and compete in?
I mean, it's definitely difficult to get a following for a dimmer company online. You know, it's not always the most aesthetic item that we can get out there and things like that. Our marketing has done a really good job so far, but it's really the trade shows like this that are really boosting us and getting us out there.
I suppose, with the shows, you can actually speak to other electricians and what they use, and that's probably your best way. What's the other ways you try and market? What's your go-to way of doing it?
you want to take this one?
We'll try and get the product to talk for itself. So at the show, if someone sees the product, that's the best way for us to kind of explain how good it is. And then once they on board with that, then that's already talks for itself. But we work with big brands, so we're trying to work with like someone like Soho, and they trust us. So if you buy a Soho product, you get an Enkin product. So it's trying to just be getting our product out in front of people. It's the best way for us, really.
Do you guys do much on like social media, like your Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, to try and go that way? Do you try and go direct to the electrician, or is it you're trying to go for the companies and wholesalers more?
So right now, we're wholesalers mostly, and we have developed, we've worked with all the top switch and socket companies in the UK, so we have developed casing for every single one of our products, so we can work across the board with whatever you are installing.
Yeah.
But we are trying to push our Instagram at the minute, which is still early days. So yeah, everyone should try and find us on there.
Yeah. Well, in terms of the product, what's the huge benefit? Why should people choose your dimmer over everyone else's? Like, what's the key features, I guess?
So we tried to fix electricians' problems, basically. So traditionally you have one dimmer and then a switch, and that's what you were taught. So we've got like one of our key products is the PDM 250, which is basically a true multi-way dimmer. So you can have up to 20 of those dimmers on the same light switch circuit. So 20 switches control one light as a dimmer. So it's a dimmer in all of them are dimmers.
Oh, that's quite cool.
Whereas traditionally you're taught you can have one dimmer either at the start or at the end.
Yeah.
We can have up to 20 in that switch. That's like the one that's kind of revolutionising standard rotary dimmers. And then we've got inline pucks, which turn retractive switches into dimmers. So you can have a toggle, a push button, or a rocker. They all become dimmers.
Yeah.
So we're trying to just fix electricians' problems with dimmers. We're trying to resolve those issues.
The problem I used to have with dimmers, I haven't fitted one for a while, because I used to get this horrible buzzing sound all the time. I'm guessing your product doesn't do that, or?
No, we have a no buzzing, no flickering guarantee with our dimmers.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, that put me off dimmers for ages. It was just so annoying.
Absolutely. I mean, we work with electricians to really find the pinch points with dimmers. They are not the easiest thing to install or for the end user. And I just feel like the dimming technology has been really left behind where we are. So we have just got under the skin to really bring dimmers back to life, and people are nervous to use them, but with our technology they're just seamless and easy.
I think that what you just said, nervous to use them, definitely, because I've gone to customers' houses previously and been like, just change it to normal switch, it's easier. Just the dimmers are too much hassle to try and get the right one, stop the buzzing. But if there are products out there like yours now, I'm definitely going to have to try and use them myself and start building confidence back up on the dimmers anyway, because otherwise I was just installing switches and that would be it. Have you got any new products that you can talk about coming out anytime soon? Or
so we kind of covered the standard like two-way products. We've got a 150 watt dimmer and a 400 watt dimmer, which is like your standard. The multi-way dimmer we spoke about, and then we're looking to get into like smart, kind of enter into the smart home. Okay. So we've got a Zigbee puck, but we're looking at doing a Zigbee dimmer. That's kind of like next on our list.
So I'm quite new to smart home. I don't do much.
So you've got your like entry smart would be like Wi-Fi, which is that's not really that safe.
Yeah.
So then Zigbee's like a mesh. So basically every Zigbee product you get adds to that mesh, and the mesh gets stronger and stronger, so the signal gets stronger. So then you could have, with our ZDM 150, you could have your wall switch, so you could walk up to your wall and you could dim it up and down as a normal dimmer, but then that could be linked to Alexa, Google, Philip Hue, and then have your timer function, phone app functions and all that stuff. So that's like your entry into smart stuff. So we're going to try and develop further into that. So we're going to have rotary dimmers, toggle dimmers kind of in that.
All be Wi-Fi controlled. So that's quite cool.
Yeah, so you're hardwired and then it links into the Wi-Fi, so it becomes like app as well, so you've got the bit of both.
So these switches will just need a power source and then they can connect to whatever.
Yeah, so all of our products are neutral free, so it's just all live, so it's switch live in, permanent live in, switch live out, no neutral needed, so we're developing that.
I was always under the impression with like smart switches you needed the neutral at the switches.
Yeah, no, so we're developing it so that's not the case, so all of our stuff's retrofit.
Oh,
so depending on how your house is wired, you should be able to just use our products.
Yeah, a lot of the time obviously it's just you usually have the switch wire there and that's it. Oh, that's good. Yeah, so I'll ask you the last question. What are we expecting from yourselves in the next 5 years? Like what what's your aims and goals of Enkin?
I mean, I think giving the technology and the quality that we know in a product, we know that there's nothing like us on the market. So we see us being fitted, widely in every home. The biggest brand in wholesalers for dimmers, and that's sort of the trajectory that we're on and where we see it taking us.
Oh, awesome. Well, I appreciate you guys coming on. It's quite interesting. I'm going to definitely try dimmers myself now and hopefully, give yours a go anyway.
Brilliant.
But, no, thank you for coming on. And cheers, guys. I'll
Thanks
see
for
you
having
in the
us.
next one. Oh, have you got any socials you want to shout out? Anyway.
Yes, absolutely. Try and find us on Instagram under Enkin, and we're on Facebook as well.
Okay, drop a follow, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Welcome back, guys. We've got another guest now, and his name is Jack, and he works for a company and does a bit for himself, and he's not on social media, which is...
No, I am looking.
You're looking for it?
Yeah.
What are you waiting for? What's, why haven't you yet?
I'm not out my time yet. That's the one bit. I've got to do my aim too.
Yeah.
Get out my time. Then I was thinking, I've got working for myself as well on the side of working for someone else.
Okay.
And then doing my own little bits here and there. And then look, because I like to go. We don't do much renewable.
Right.
And that's something I've always been interested in.
Okay. So that's something you'd go down the
Yeah.
lines of for yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's the way it's going in it. So if you're going to do something, it makes sense to kind of do that. What is it like? Would you not consider getting it ready now? Start building
That's
a
what
profile.
I was thinking of doing. Yeah.
Because it kind of makes sense. But if you know you kind of want to go down that route of your socials and going down the renewables, surely if you start setting up your socials now, just even if you've started uploading bits of your work now,
start building a client base.
Yeah, you made that leap. At least you got a portfolio as such.
Yeah.
Doing it. So I think that could be a good way for you going forward.
Yeah.
But if you've got a time scale for this, or is it just get out your time, get some experience?
Yeah. I want to sort of stay where I am for now and learn and keep developing, but I don't want to just stay and stop and become stagnant. I want to try and learn as much as I can.
Makes sense.
So while I've been walking around here, I've been even speaking to the people doing all the data and the security.
Oh, okay.
And learning, just speaking to everyone really.
Yeah, I feel like if you're going out on your own, you need to have quite a wide range of stuff you can do, so you can try and get as many clients in as you can. And so, what's your training route been like? Has it been quite a good experience, or have you had a bad experience?
It has been a good experience. So I started, it's 4 years ago now.
Yeah.
The college, that's always the hard part. I remember when I started, I was put on a job where we had no electricians on the job at the time.
Yeah.
And it was mechanical. So I was sweeping up water.
No way.
I'll show you a video after sweeping up the water.
Bloody hell.
But then I got moved on to a job and I learned so much so quick.
Yeah.
Just thrown in the deep end of, right, we're doing this. And the old boys have always taught you, always listen. I've always just be a sponge.
Yeah.
But then, I remember college when I first started, you sat there and you're listening and you're like, this isn't going in yet.
I know.
And then there's bits now where I go, oh, that's clicked.
Okay.
Even going back through exams and stuff like that, and you're reading the regs and stuff starts to click, stuff starts to make sense.
I've always said it all just merges together. It feels like all at one time.
Yeah.
It's like stuff is just, that makes sense. So that makes sense. I know exactly what you mean. I had a similar experience when I was an apprentice. Everything just started to click at once. And then you think you found that while you gone out, and then you just got to keep building on that, I suppose. Now, what you're doing, you more domestic, commercial, or
commercial?
Have you tried domestic as well?
I've done bits of domestic for myself. Yeah. A few light changes here and sockets added.
Yeah. How do you find the difference?
It is different. I think domestic, it is messier, but you're going to get that, aren't you?
Yeah.
But it's also, when you're on commercial, your clients are different to when you've got domestic. Your video about clients always makes me laugh.
Yeah.
No, even difference between working with a customer versus working against a builder.
Yeah.
That's different, where when you're working in the commercial industry, I've always found you've got that manager that be out above you. When I've done my own domestic, it's on me.
The whole responsibility is on yourself. Yeah, I've always, like, I don't. You say you watch my video. I've always said that I much prefer commercial. It's less hassle.
Yeah,
it's a lot less hassle, and you get more money.
Yeah.
So obviously, like you know yourself, people can earn good money doing domestic.
Yeah.
But yeah, I find people who do domestic from an apprenticeship
love it.
Prefer staying in domestic. They don't like going into commercial. And I think it's the other way around. If you start off in commercial, that's what you like doing. People don't seem to like the crossover.
I've found though the commercial going into bits of industrial makes it easier.
Yeah.
Like when we've done bits of industrial work, knowing the commercial background, it's easier to go that way than it is the other way.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I've openly admit as well, like, I struggled with domestic when I went into it.
Well,
it's
I've
a
always
completely
used
different ball game.
Darley, like, normal conventional light switches.
Yeah.
I've always used Darley, and then when it comes to conventional light switching, I have to think about that.
Yeah.
But I can do a Darley like Greg straight away.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I get it. Have you got like a favourite job you've done so far as an apprentice? Have you got?
The last job I was on was a hospital.
Okay.
And for some reason I always get sent up to the highest place on the job, which is always the plant room, always the warmest.
Yeah.
And I'd done tray, but not much of tray.
Yeah.
I was just given the plant room, given a drawing, and gone, go on.
Oh, that's a good way of learning that.
Yeah. I'd done tray, but not to that extent of, oh, right, I've got to do all this. And even just, I think that's brought me on a lot in my apprenticeship.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Like going from sort of taking control and leading.
Yeah.
But my favourite one was we're working on a train depot.
Okay.
And now when I've gone past on the train and you see all the lights on, I'll say, oh, lass, I did that. And
yeah, we all do that, don't we? Yeah. Go back to the tray. I'm always interested. Do they make you do your own bends, or do they just buy the bends?
Job to job.
Depends.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But I think you should be able to. Every spark should be able to make their tray. Like. Yeah. Little bit fair enough, getting some bits manufactured, but sometimes you need that ever so slight adjustment or making it yourself, even when you look at it and go, I'm proud of what I've done there.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And it's a like good set or something like that, like conduit with a dog leg, and you know it's bang on. That's a brilliant feeling.
That is good, isn't it? It's a good feeling. I can imagine after you've done that tray work in the plant room, when you finished it, you stood back and was quite proud.
Yeah.
It's something nice to look at. Yeah, and that's the whole reason. Maybe yourself. I like being an electrician.
Yeah.
Like
seeing your working and it being good.
Yeah.
Good craftsmanship.
Like you've done that. I've done that. Yeah. I know exactly what you mean. Well, I appreciate you coming on. Obviously, you haven't got your socials.
Yeah.
Get them sorted and we can give them a shout out. And I appreciate your time and good luck when you do jump out on your own.
Brilliant, thank you.
Cheers, mate. Welcome back, guys, and we've got our next guest, and it is Corey from Early Dart. Now, I'll be totally honest, I've not heard of your brand, so if you want to just give me an introduction, rundown of what you do, what you're about, and
So basically, we're a marketing company solely for trades. Is how we started. Basically, we were plumbers, and then we were doing a bit of marketing. Every time we got busier through the marketing, we ended up not being able to do it because we were so busy on the tools. So then we dropped off a bit, and then that means that once we completed our sort of busy workflow, the jobs weren't really coming in again, just because we had to drop off the marketing. So we found that it was sort of like a roller coaster of trying to manage the marketing and the plumbing at the same time. So we struggled quite a bit with that.
How long have you been going, roughly?
So with the plumbing, we were doing plumbing for about 15 years. And then with the marketing, we've been doing that for sort of roughly the last year. So we're sort of quite new, but we've just dived straight into the deep end basically, and we've learned quite a lot off the marketing from doing it for ourselves anyway.
What do you find works the most for you guys? Is it like your TikToks, your Instagrams, that kind of marketing, or is it more other route like LinkedIn?
So basically we focus on social media quite a lot, so Facebook and Instagram, massively for just promoting basically our websites, also our services and stuff like that. We also find that focusing on our website quite a bit and building that up is massive for getting yourself like first on Google. So when people in your local area are searching for like a boiler installation, then you're going to be the first one to show up with good reviews, a good site, good keywords, so you're just a strong website, and people are more likely to pick you, basically.
Yeah, I think people take that for granted, how important it is to have a good social, or not necessarily audience, but coming up high on Google.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, if we're all looking for a certain something, you type it in your area, you click on the first one that comes up as long as it's got a good review.
100%, yeah.
So I think it is vital to be at that top. Is that? I'm guessing that's part you're helping other companies to grow their kind of socials and bring them up to.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Is it difficulties with some companies? I'm guessing it's not just marketing. If they're not doing good work, is it difficult to still try and push them, or do you pick the clients you got?
Semi. So basically, we're quite lucky with the fact that the clients that we have actually do good work, and we also don't want to, if somebody isn't doing the good work, and they're never going to really take off anyway, because people are going to see on the Facebook and Instagram that the work looks terrible, or that it's all messy and stuff like that. So even if we tried to help somebody like that, I don't think that it would work for them anyway.
Okay. In terms of your business then, obviously it's a different kind of way. Have you got a better way of growing your own business? Because obviously you've got an idea how to grow someone else's business and the tradesman's business, but how are you finding it in terms of your business? How's that growing?
So with our business, we're basically trying to focus on our story. So how we started off as plumbers, and then how we've finally developed into marketers, trying to conquer the world of marketing, all of our twists and turns basically, and how we're still learning every single day. Just like any other plumber would, you're still learning every single day. So with growing our business now, we're trying to just basically let people know who we are, what we do, and who we can help. So
that makes sense. Do you guys do TikTok and all as well? And
so on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook, we're Early Dart. So anybody who wants to take a look at our stuff, we're trying to basically, at the minute, we've just gone through a bit of a rebranding where we're just letting people know what we do and who we are. So we're trying to introduce people to us now. Yeah.
So I can imagine it's so important for your brand's got to look good in terms of marketing, for other people to believe that you can market their business. I suppose that's a vital.
We couldn't take our phone out and just record something random and it looked crappy, no editing or anything like that, and then just expect people to invest in us. So.
Yeah. Do you guys do all the editing yourself, or?
Yeah. So we have a professional photographer. He's someone who helps us out quite a lot, and he does photography, videography, and editing for us and stuff. So, and he's really good. Yeah.
Yeah, that must see you loads. I hate editing. Well, I say hate editing. it does people even for a 30-second TikTok. It can take sometimes up to an hour just to.
Yeah, we found that when we first started, I had a little go on the editing side, and my God, I just don't have the patience for it. So I'm really glad that we've got somebody to help us with it.
Yeah. What's your biggest struggle that you found since you started up?
The biggest struggle is, I think it's just trying to get our name out there so people know who we are, and again going back to sort of that trust thing, is getting people to not trust you, but getting people to know that you're somebody who actually wants to help them, rather than just a randomer saying I can do this, I can do that. Yeah. So it's basically trying to find a way to prove to people that we are who we say we are, and we can do what we say we do. Yeah,
that makes sense. And I'll ask you the last question.
Yeah.
Where are we going to see you in 5 years? What's your kind of ambitions, aims with this company? Where do you want to get to?
In 5 years, we want to be up there, not multinational, sorry. We want to be up there nationally, with the big guys. Basically, we want to get to a point where people know who we are. We're a household name. Maybe even if it doesn't take 5 years, but 10 years, something like that. So
we want to get to. So I imagine it's quite a difficult space to be in marketing these days.
It's a very competitive space, definitely. But we've got a really good team, and we're still working every single day on how to change our approach and how to change our system and stuff like that until it's perfect. And that's what we want. We're heading for perfection.
Sounds good to me. No, I appreciate you coming on as well.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
If you want to just give one more shout out to your social so people go check it out.
Yeah, so on Instagram it is Early Dart Marketing, on Facebook we're Early Dart, and on TikTok we're Early Dart as well.
So go and check them out, guys, and thank you for watching. Right, guys, we've got our next guest, and it is Richard. And if you'd like to introduce your company, what you do, and then we'll get stuck into it.
I'm Richard Cockline. I'm a subcontractor that does mostly fire alarms, life safety systems. Work mostly in Yorkshire. I will travel a bit further away if I have to, but I like to be at home on a night, so
oh, is it?
Anything within 2 hours is far enough for me.
Yeah, that's especially in a day, the travelling. Yeah. What got you into being an electrician to begin with?
Before this, I was a painter and decorator.
Okay.
Yeah, so I've changed chains a bit. So as an adult learner, I went back to relearn when I was 30.
Oh, right, yeah.
We'd had 2 Christmases where clients had said, all the other trades have overcharged, we're going to do the decorating yourself, and dropping on another job just before Christmas is hard. Nobody wants you in your house. So I turned around and said, I'm going to retrain and be one of them trades that's in before us and get the money. So I went back to college, and 4.5 years of night school became a spark.
How did you find your experience? Obviously, training at 30 must be a lot difficult than doing it when you're a teenager.
Yeah, it's hard work because you've got your full-time job, and then you go in on an evening, 2 nights a week, and then trying to find work where you can get experience. That was my biggest problem, trying to find companies or individuals that would take you on at a weekend or evenings to gain that hands-on experience.
Yeah, because I suppose that they don't want to be paying full rates as an electrician, especially. For you, obviously, you got a house to pay for, so you can't go on the shit rates, can you?
No, but I mean, I did. I went and worked for free for people, so then I could turn around and say, I've done that, I've done this.
Yeah.
Just companies would say, what experience have you got? I'd say, I'm a shit-hot decorator, but I've no experience on the tools being a spark. So it was a long, hard slog. About 18 months before someone would take me on fully, and that was just dropping on someone.
Bloody hell, mad.
Yeah.
You can imagine the painting and decorating skills coming handy with the damage we make on insert day.
Yeah, it comes in.
Yeah.
I won't say I suppose I'm multi-skilled because I've got that skill as well, so you can do bits and pieces for people as well.
Yeah. Going from a painter, because for me personally, I cannot stand painting. I get so bored doing it. Go on, I'll wait till you get the end.
Falling off.
Issues.
Sorry.
No, so I was just saying, I just cannot stand painting. I get so bored doing it. So from you going from a painter to electrical, do you find it a massive change, and you're always doing something different and you're constantly bouncing about? Is it complete change from what you was doing? Yeah,
I mean, when I was decorating, it was all domestic, or 99% domestic, whereas now I don't really touch domestic. It is mostly industrial and commercial that we do, and it's the variety of work, the places that you get to work, because as a spark you get to work in some amazing places and see some amazing things, whereas as a spark as a painter working in someone's house, you just get that client that's in there. You don't get the banter on site, and all the other trades. You pick up off the other trades as well. So doing stuff at home, you can quiz them what you need to do. And because tradesmen cost a fortune, so it's
they can do.
So doing stuff at home is a lot better. Yeah.
What's your most interesting project you've done recently? Have you got anything?
I mean, at the minute we're just on a new terminal for an airport that we're doing. So we've been on that since January. And then when that finishes, we should get on to the refurb of the existing terminal. I've worked in a nunnery. It got a hidden chapel that during Henry VIII's reign, when he was going through smashing all the monasteries up, they built this chapel inside the nunnery that you didn't know it was there.
Is that certain jobs? I know in churches and stuff, you have to install in a particular way. You can't damage things. Is that a similar thing with it?
Yeah, listed buildings are a nightmare to work in because the thing we did a listed building in Leeds, an old library, and everything was white. I mean, we're doing fire alarm, which is normally everything's red, all your cabling, your clips and everything, but everything had to be white, so it was blended in and you couldn't see it.
How does that work with regulations and all that?
As long as it was listed, when they did the certificate, they say all our cabling is white and people are aware of it, and you know where it is. There's ways of getting around everything.
I can imagine that's a difficult thing to get over. What do you see happening in the electrical industry now in the next 5 years, in your opinion?
We need more coming in, but we need more people training. I don't think there's enough people out there. There's not enough teachers or lecturers out there to train them up like we need. I mean, government says we need all these buildings and houses built.
Yeah.
Where are all the sparks going to come from?
Yeah.
Talking to the odd apprentice on site, it's hard for them to find jobs. There's plenty of people out there wanting it, but it's finding companies to take them on. And I find some of the bigger companies, they're just used as another pair of hands and they're not being taught properly what to do.
Yeah, I remember my apprenticeship. Like, I was quite fortunate; I had a decent apprenticeship. But I hear stories all the time. People just basically being used. But that's the way it is. But no, I appreciate you coming on. Have you got any socials that you can shout out or anything?
It's @Cockalainalec on Instagram that I do, and I'm here today. I'm working on the safe isolation stand. That's something I'm passionate about, promoting that, because there's not enough people. Doing it. Everyone says they do it, but in all honesty, I'd be lying if I said I'd done it every single time. But to be fair though, because I do a lot more commercial, we are pretty good at it. Just because you have to with his maintenance teams, I don't trust any of them. No, you'll get into a factory or somewhere, they've all got safe systems of work, and there's the paperwork, there's the rules, and the way you've got to do it. Domestic, it's flick the board off, no one's in the house, I'll crack on and get it done.
No, I think a lot of us have got to get better at it. But I suppose I'll have to pop over the stand later and see what you're getting up to over there. But I appreciate you coming on, and thank you and good luck.
Thank you.
Cheers.
All right.
So guys, we got our next guest and this special guest because we're joined by NAPIT, Steve and Andy. And if you want to introduce yourselves a little bit and what your role is within NAPIT, and then we'll get into the next inquiry. Let's go with Andy first.
So I'm a technical commercial engineer at NAPIT, joined the company a year ago. So try to describe that role. That's quite an interesting role, isn't it, Steve? So we do sit on some wiring committees, which is a privilege as well on there. And if you weren't aware what NAPIT is, a competent person scheme in essence on there. We're lucky enough that we work in the publications that the organisation does. We're lucky enough that we get some of our articles go into wider magazines, don't they? Not only our members one on there as well. We also have our own podcast, don't we, Steve?
We do.
We do.
Not as professional as your one, by the way, James.
No, it was good on there. And we obviously attend these ELEX shows and other shows as well, up and down the country as well. I think I covered most of it, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think. And as you said, I'm Steve Humphries. I'm the technical commercial manager at NAPIT. So really, me and Andy are like the new. I want to say Anton Deck, but that just doesn't sound right.
No.
I'm old enough to remember like the two Ronnies and old people, but like we do all the fun stuff. We're front-facing stuff, which is really good. And like Andy said, NAPIT's a lot more than a competent person scheme. So for those that don't know what that is, and most Sparkies would know what that is, like if you're having any kind of notifiable work done, maybe in your house, James, for instance, and they're doing a consumer unit change, you've got to notify that as part of the Part P building regs, and you need to do that through. You can notify yourself through building control, but most people will be with a CPS operator to certify that work on their behalf. So it's fun. Like I say, we sit under the commercial department, even though we're both technical. Similar kind of careers. Sparkies went into education, then came to join NAPIT, and then we worked together, just talking geeky stuff to members and industry and people like yourselves. And honestly, it's a great role because we're very passionate about our industry, because like we've been there, done it, got the T-shirt, and that's not an arrogant thing. That's just the truth. But now we get to share that knowledge, and we're learning all the time ourselves, aren't we?
In this industry, you can't know everything, can you? You know, every day is a school day, as we say, especially with the changes in regulations that we're going to be seeing in the future. So it's hard to keep up on stuff and be technical, but it's a world we live in, and we enjoy it, don't we, Steve? And we work quite well in that area.
I think really we've got to serve our members. We've got about 20,000 plus members, and that's our primary business. So we look to serve those members. And as technical people, like Andy said, we do monthly webinars every first Tuesday of the month. We'll do that. We get about 400 or 500 attend live, which is great.
Yeah.
And they're supposed to be having the tea then, and they're listening to us ramble on two brummies. And then we do, like I say, we do a quarterly Competent Person magazine with about 3 or 4 technical articles in. We come to all the ELEX shows and we get roped into seminars, which is great because we get to meet people live, do stuff like this, and the general chats we have on the stand are fantastic. Yeah. So I think what we've tried to avoid is we've got quite a big stand this year here, and a new stand, and we've got the usual sales. We've got people that will sell you something, sign you up for something, but we always have technical people there because a lot of the questions can be directed to a technical person, which is important.
Yeah, no, that's good. Me myself, so I'm an electrician. When I went out on my own, I went with NAPIT.
Good man.
Great move.
Yeah, and I had no issues with it. I thought everything was good. Like you said, you had a lot of training on there, and I had a good experience with NAPIT. And what I didn't realise, because I got assessed by the assessors, I didn't realise you have the same thing. It's like, I was always under the impression the NIC had more credibility in terms of like when you're going for work, tenders or whatever, that kind of thing, that you have to be NIC, and the assessor was telling me, no, NAPIT are just as, they have the same thing. And I think that's, people don't see that sometimes, and they think...
I'd say because NAPIT was founded in 1992. Yeah. Obviously, we won't say the other ones on there, but they've just been around longer for us, and we are slowly chipping away in that space as well. And you are right. We offer the same services, and if not a better service.
Yeah, I think we pride ourselves, and I think our USP has always been. We're very personable, and that's not to say NICSO aren't and other organisations, but we're very member focused, and I think that's a really important thing to do. We don't want to have an arrogance about us. We want to be forward facing. There's certain things like, you mentioned, and I was the same when I had my assessments, and I switched from NICIC to NAPIT due to a fallout, really, which these things happen, don't they? And it does depend on your assessor. If you get on with your assessor and they know you're a good installer, generally they're not going to be too harsh on that. They'll always find something, but that's good because that's a learning curve for you. But I think, you're right. I remember doing a lot of housing association work for my father-in-law, and that was like, even on the tender it said NICIC.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at.
Yeah, it's mad. It's a myth.
Yeah, but he said to me, if you ever see that, make sure you phone our
challenge it,
and challenge it. And I was like, oh, fair play, it was good.
Because both those bodies, James, are governed by organisations in UCAS and things like that will look at that and say, no, they're the regulators of the CPSs to make sure they're doing things and treating their members properly, and they don't see us. It's quite right. You remember when you had Stroma as well, and NAPIT bought Stroma, and then there was, so it's a moving beast. But I think for us, we focus on what we can do well, and we get on with the technical people at the other thing. We're working here to say, the first time on this show, the end session we do as a seminar is the IT, NICIC and NAPIT do a joint question and answer, and that's good for industry to see, really, that we're coming together regardless of commercial gain or advantage or differences. I think the industry's got to come together better to serve the wider industry, especially with renewables. I mean, we want to educate, don't we, and bring the next generation through.
How do you guys, obviously you teach courses, you give these webinars, where do you guys learn your stuff from?
Good question. Mainly research, and it's sort of hard graft if you want to put it like that, but you have to do your research. As I keep on saying, things are changing, so we listen to podcasts, don't we? We're lucky enough, like we said, we sit on a lot of committees as well, and there's some really smart people on these committees, and as Steve pointed out, we're all working together, we're all learning off each other, and we want to support our members and make the industry better and ultimately safer. So it's finding that it's time's your biggest enemy for that. But you just, looking up with our role, we do get to manage our own diaries, and we can allocate time where we can do our own CPD. That's really important, isn't it, Steve?
Yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head, and it's a really good question because you never stop learning. You've got to build on that knowledge. As soon as you think you've hit your pinnacle as a spark or as a lecturer or in our position of doing this, you might as well stop doing it, because I love learning. I was at that annoying apprentice that always asked the question, and wanted, why does that happen? Why is that? And I think you've got to have that ethos, and like Andy said, whether it's a magazine article, if you don't know, you don't know. So, you know, there's some great people in this industry that I'll go and listen to their podcasts, or I'll go and watch them, or I'll go and listen to a CPD event that they're doing. And I think that's important. We don't, like I say, you can't be arrogant in this trade. So if I want to know, if I don't know something, I'll sit. It doesn't always have to be a course, but we're lucky enough where our gaffers will say, if you're weak in an area, let's say it's fire alarm systems, and there's new updates to that at the moment, you know, we'll go and sit on a 2-day course and learn about it.
Yeah. I was quite lucky when I joined NAPIT, and NAPIT offers training. I didn't have my solar or my battery, so straight away within 2 weeks I was on the courses for them. Yeah, so because I would need, the industry we're in now very renewable heavy, I needed to know what's it about. So companies very good like that as well, and if you need a course, you know, they can offer it as well for you and facilitate that need.
Yeah, so where do you see the industry going in like the next 5 years? Do you see it getting better, getting worse?
I think it'll be better, really do, just because of what the conversations we've had today on there, because we're all working together to improve the industry and make it safer. I think the regulations will, and we're both talking about technical, that sometimes for the average electrician they're quite hard to read, and I think working through the committees that I've been on now, they are trying to get away from that. They still have to be technical, of course they do, but they have to be readable as well and understandable, so the installer can read them and know, actually, that's what I need to do. Yeah. So for me, I think it's getting better.
What about you, Steve? Are you into the same?
Yeah, I think this is a really exciting time for the industry. I mean, if I was going through my time again now as a Spark, I'd be absolutely buzzing, because if you think about things like smart homes, heat pumps, solar, battery, all this kind of integration with vehicle to grid, I mean, it's just a new world, isn't it? You know, I came through as an apprentice that worked on big commercial and industrial jobs. I dropped into what I class as house bashing later in life when I was self-employed. So I've seen, like, you know, buildings like this that were in high bay lighting, distribution boards. It was all nuts and bolts. And I'm not saying it got boring. It just, you knew how to do it. And again, that's not to say arrogant, but you think about coming through your time now. You're learning about technologies that didn't exist when I was at college. So I think we've got to send the right message out that, you know, and I see the industry just being like, an electrician's role will look totally different. You know, some are branching into renewables only installers, some are diversifying, which is fine. But if you think about any solar PV installer or domestic or battery installer, at the core are an electrician. They've got to be an electrician to do those courses anyway. I think that opens up possibilities, like, you know, and it's only going to improve. Saying that, a caveat that way, it is getting confusing as well, because you just asked a great question about our CPD. Where you could do CPD and sort of it would maybe have a 6 month to a year shelf life, I think 2 months down the line you go, oh, that's changed, which we never had before. So if you think about the industry being manufacturer driven, you know, and at Navitas, you know, you're coming out with products to improve that learner journey. Everybody's doing the same. Inverter manufacturers, solar PV, batteries. There's a new one popping up every 5 minutes that does something swanky. Yeah. So if manufacturers drive this industry, because they're the ones that are innovative and you know, putting the R&D into that stuff, we get to know about it, we change the regs or the guidance, and then the installer is the last to know, and that's got to change. I think we need the installer and the designer earlier in that journey, because otherwise they're going to get left behind and they'll get annoyed with people like us, to be honest. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I totally get you. Yeah. Do you see like the apprenticeship changing in like, say, different sectors? Obviously, because to do an apprenticeship in everything we do now and everything out there is electrical, it's almost impossible. You can never cover everything, and in 3 years I don't think there's enough time to get enough experience in all of these. Do you see it changing at all?
It's probably a good one for you. You worked in that recently.
It's a good point, that, because it depends on your apprenticeship will be what range of work you get. So as Steve mentioned, if you got your apprenticeship and they're like a residential domestic, then you might struggle to do containment and so on. Yeah. And that might be vice versa. If you're just doing containment, you might not get the experience on there.
That's always been the thing between domestic and commercial. I've always heard that people should be separated. But now you've got like the renewables as well. You've got so much. It's just getting bigger and bigger, and you're just still doing. You may only do one of those things with a company.
Yeah, from my experience from education and being in teaching, those renewable technologies are coming into the syllabus more. Okay. So they are aware of them. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, you're not going to get students leaving college knowing all about them, but they are talked about, you know, solar, battery and so on there. So they do have a minute understanding of them, or a grasp of them, so to speak, on there. But you are right, to get the range, it's difficult on there. I don't know what the answer is. You get good employers, and you get some not so great employers that will give you that range.
Yeah,
you know.
Me personally, I find it a bit mad now looking at it. Is say if you're just doing apprentice, is just doing house bashing, he can qualify as electrician, but he may not have a clue how to do commercial, industrial, solar, battery. He just knows how to fit basic.
Yeah, twin and earth.
Yeah, but he's on the same ticket as the electrician.
It's mad.
Yeah, but with his portfolio that it has to do for the MVQ, the range of work should cover some kind of different containment systems.
Okay.
So that's down to the MVQ assessor to make sure. And yes, sometimes you can have a professional conversation about it. How would you go about this job? And they explain it in detail, and you're like, okay, just because you haven't done it, you know how to do it.
Still understand it.
Yeah, so it just depends on that side of it, really. But really, the range that they have to do for their MVQ portfolio takes them to their endpoint assessment, where you've got to be doing a bit of every single endpoint assessment on there. So they should have some knowledge.
I get what you're saying. What are we expecting from Napier in the next 5 years? Have they got plans or goals? Or
We're going to overtake the world.
World domination.
We've got bold moves coming. No, I think good thing for Napier is about 3 years ago we were acquired by an organisation called FENA. So that's why you might notice the tick on some members have been saying it. And sometimes acquisitions can be a bit scary. I've worked at firms where you were acquired and it was an asset stripping thing. What that's allowed us to do and what FENA do is companies like ourselves, they want to invest in that business and grow. So I think it's gave us more potential moving forward, get the structure right, get the people in place. It's a very much at its value a core of a family business, and that's how it started from the founders. But as the growth has just naturally happened through membership, and the more things we do, the more we can offer more benefit for our members. So we're very much like, what can we do bigger and better? Yeah. But do it sensibly, not just try and bowl the ocean, but say, look, can the webinars be improved that we do? How do we get better at our podcast? We talked about the way your setup is with your mics earlier. Just simple little things where we can just probably got that investment now, and we got the right people in place just to grow the business. Not having like square pegs in round holes and just move forward. So I think in 5 years' time, membership growth will just go. We're naturally getting that in a way. And I think, offering different kinds of training provisions. We're maybe looking at delivering smart home qualifications, which maybe could just be online versions. We'd learn differently. So I think there's lots of opportunities. And what's good about the senior management at Napier is that they'll include everyone in that conversation. So regular technical meetings, commercial meetings, say, look, what can we do? What's exciting? What do you think? So they are a good company in that aspect of looking what's next. We don't rest on our laurels.
Yeah, short term, if you weren't aware, obviously next year is a very big year in the industry because release of Amendment 4 of the BS 7671. Okay. So that's going to be a very big year for the company in that. So we're going to be doing probably some more expos that we do up and down the country. So seminars that we'll be hosting to obviously support our members to understand the new changes in Amendment 4. So next year's a really big year.
Yeah, and I understand that. And I'll ask you a final question. Do you find these shows for you guys massively beneficial to speak to the contractors direct, come around?
It's gold dust, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, for me, both me and Andy are home workers anyway. So I'm based in North Devon and Andy's in the Midlands. I'm obviously from the Midlands originally, as you can probably tell from the accent. But like me being a home worker and working very remote where I am in Ilfracombe, when I do the shows, I look forward to the shows because it's my chance, one, to get out of the office, just engage with my own team, face to face. But like you've just hit the nail on the head, you're having those conversations. They're not quite the same through a screen, are they, or on the phone? If you can get people face to face, and COVID. We had the repercussions of COVID, but it had some positive things. The way we do business was better, I think. We don't have to drive in a car 300 miles to have a meeting. But actually, I think that face-to-face and shows and seeing people enjoy themselves, get that extra benefit, it is absolutely brilliant. So for me, we always have to do the shows because the amount of talks we have to do anyway. But I wouldn't miss these for the world. I don't think I'd ever get bored of them because the conversations are always different. Yeah. If that you see the same characters, but there's always something new going on.
Yeah, me and Steve have said many times, we're in such a privileged position that we're in now, where we have to pinch ourselves because we're doing this now. And we could be on site somewhere, climbing through a roof or whatever the case may be, but we're here talking to yourself, James.
James thinks the same.
That's when I get a bit older, I think I'm going to have to...
Yeah, definitely. But we're so privileged. So these shows are a great release of Steve Cook because we work from home, and to get out, meet members, meet new people, industry topics, fantastic.
Yeah, I said that was my last question. I got one more.
Oh.
Do you get nervous doing the talks and stuff on?
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
No.
Never get nervous.
I always find when I talk like something technical, especially with a group of people, I just crumble. You know.
I think it's good to have nerves. So I say yes, but you got to use those nerves.
Yeah.
So I think it's natural.
No, I suppose I sounded like an arrogant there, didn't I? No, I never get nervous, James. I'm an expert at this. What do you mean?
That's the real Steve there.
No, I don't actually get nervous. I'm not saying like. I think it's when you're passionate about the subject and you know the subject you're about and you're prepared well and you've done the research behind it. You can almost do it like, boom, just step up, love it, show that passion to the person you're presenting to, and that will come across. I used to be the same when I was teaching. My students I used to do the reading because I used to get all the chairs in a horseshoe instead of the normal, sat behind a desk. There was no hiding in my class. I was about them, I was around them. Right, what are you doing? What are you up to? Put your phone away, let's go. And they were like, oh, for goodness sake, you're sapping the energy out of me. When I was in my 40s then and I was still buzzing. But I think if you've got a passion for it, it sort of dissipates those nerves quite quickly. And I'm a people person anyway, so I like in your previous question, if you like meeting people and you've got that passion for the industry, I think yeah, you'll just get on with it. Just go for it. We wing it a lot of the time.
Like I said, I think it's good to have the nerves because that means you care. Yeah. So if you didn't have the, I'm not saying that
we're not going to fall out over this, are we?
Steve doesn't care.
No, but I'm just saying because you care, you want it to be right, and it's technical information. You don't want to get it wrong. We've got to remember reg numbers and so on. That you want to get it right, and naturally we do our research obviously before we go on there. But nerves are a good thing in my opinion.
Oh no, it's great. It's been great chatting to you guys. Hopefully we get you on for a full podcast.
We'd love that.
Yeah, I'd love to come on.
And vice versa.
Yeah, I'm more than happy to come out with Will or whatever and we can get something sorted. But no, obviously go and check out Neatbit, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you. Right, guys, we're on to our next guest, and I'm going to let him introduce himself, and then we will get stuck into it.
Perfect. So I'm James Ostick. I'm the business development manager from LED and Power, and we're a lighting. I say a lighting manufacturer. We're a lighting distributor based up in Stokesley, and we supply the nation with some LED lighting, commercial and industrial lighting.
How long have you guys been about, and what's like the story of the brand or the company?
So it was 5 years ago. It was actually my father. He met a chap who was working for a lighting company. And together they decided that actually they could offer sort of more lighting services, lighting designs, that kind of thing, for more contractors. They found there was a bit of a gap in the market that some wholesalers potentially, they've got a lot to look at. So I'm talking about electrical wholesalers here.
Yeah.
They don't sort of concentrate on the lighting, so we thought there was sort of a bit of a gap there. We sort of helped them out. That was 5 years ago, and then obviously the COVID then happened. Oh yeah, of course. So they then decided to build or concentrate on the website a little bit more. So it's been, I say, a more of an e-commerce website sort of for the last 5 years.
Okay, nice. Have you seen a lot of change in that last 5 years? With lighting, I've openly admitted I'm not too up to date with it. I couldn't tell you what's a good brand, what's a bad brand, or anything like that. And it just seems to constantly change all the time. Lighting is so difficult to keep up. And what about you guys? Are you finding that stage is hard to keep up with it yourself?
Yeah, there's definitely been a boom, hasn't there? So it was a lot of people. I say more people now. LED's the way, isn't it? But even 5 years ago, you would have a chat with certain people, and they would not be adamant, but they would say, "Oh, it costs that much, and is it actually going to last that long? And how are they actually made? And what light bulb is inside that?" And you're like, "Well, it's not a light bulb. It's diodes." So it's been like a bit of an education, I guess, over the years. But there definitely has been a boom, and obviously everyone's starting to get their lighting upgrades, and
So have you got your own brand of lighting as well, and do you supply other brands as well? So you do the full range?
Yeah, so when we started, it was generally drop shipping from other suppliers. So we do have the contacts that the other wholesalers will have, electrical wholesalers. It was generally people come through our website. We would then go to the UK suppliers. So we were actually able to meet sort of contractors' demands with certain products.
Okay.
Then a couple of years down the line, we decided to bring our own brand in. So we're working with manufacturers in China. We do concentrate sort of more on your commercial and your industrial stuff, so high bay lights, floodlights. We do have some ATEX fittings in there as well.
Oh yeah.
IP69K battens, fully. So lots of different things.
What's that? I've delved into a little bit of the ATEX stuff. But I can imagine that's a massive headache trying to with all certification and what's that like?
Yeah, so it's obviously a different fitting, isn't it? Generally, people are looking for down at the mines and things like that. We just had a chappie actually in London. I think it's the Tower of London or the Bridge of London or something. So underneath in the subways. So they're obviously an expensive fitting.
Yeah.
But it's all got to be ATEX, you see. So the whole thing, and Zone 1 and Zone 2, and there's loads of certifications and things like that.
Yeah,
so,
I can imagine.
Yeah.
What's the plan for the future of your brand, your company? What are you aiming to do? What's your goals and ambitions with it?
So the plan is to help more contractors with their lighting designs. The amount of times we see the wrong light in the wrong place. And we want to stop that and ultimately give how should I say this? Give contractors the lighting that they deserve, and obviously put in places like this and places like that and schools and whatnot.
Trying to support the contractors, because like I've done it before. I've got I go through my wholesaler mainly to get a company in, and then they come and spec up the job, what lights I need, and then that's something you offer yourself. So people would go direct to you. Instead of going through the wholesaler, they come direct to you, and you can go there, look at the job, plan it out, and then the pressure's taken off the contractor a little bit.
Yeah, I'd like to think so, James. I'd like to think that we can go in and obviously offer them special, specialist techniques and things like that to give them the right lighting design, rather than then say a wholesaler that may just say, okay, this light would do. We'd like to maybe give them some certain options, but that would do this, and obviously give them all the photometric files and everything to match.
Is that the same with emergency? Do you do emergency lighting as well?
We do have some emergency lighting there as well. Yeah.
So it seems like you cover the whole range.
We do. I mean, look, we don't sort of concentrate on residential. But we do all projects. So if you come to us, we can help you source products. If you can't get a certain product from somewhere, then we'd like to try and get it from somewhere else for you.
Sounds good. Are we expected to see you on a stand at one point of the shows, or?
Yeah, well, that was the idea. I mean, I've come here for the 2 days. I came here yesterday, and I've met with some suppliers that we sort of deal with now, but some new ones, and obviously learning about new products and whatnot. And it's sort of trying to get a feel for myself to see whether we could come and obviously do something like this ourselves. I mean, we are going to be going to the CEF Live in Birmingham, so we're going to be checking out that and a few different shows throughout the year.
Yeah.
Hopefully by next year, James, you might see us on a stand, and that'd be ideal.
No, that'd be good. I'll ask you one more question. How do you find competing in this market with your marketing? It's imagine as a lighting company, marketing is a massive. Well, it's huge. It's with so many different companies of lighting. How do you do it?
So we, at the moment, we are sort of targeting on Google Ads and things like that. We do a lot of cold calling. Obviously the old ways. The
old-fashioned ways.
The old-fashioned ways, James. Yeah. Sometimes you've got to get down to it.
Yeah.
But we just obviously have product demonstration days. Obviously we can go around. At the end of the day, I say a lot of products are very similar, but people buy from people, so we'd like to think that we're going to give a service. Hopefully we're going to build up a brand that people want to trust us, and if people can give us an opportunity, hopefully we can make their lives easier in the contracting world.
No, sounds great. I look forward to seeing you and the brand, hopefully future stands and whatever else. But have you got any socials you can give a shout out to people to go for? Well, I'm guessing it's the company name.
Yeah, so it's LED Empower, so www.ledempower.co.uk. I'm James Osteet. You can get me on LinkedIn. It would be a pleasure to deal with some more guys.
Awesome. I appreciate you coming on as well. Thank you.
Cheers.
Right, guys, we got our next special guest. It is Mike from East Renewables. You may follow him on Instagram and all the socials, but he's your solar guy, your go-to guy. How are you finding it? How are you finding the show?
Yeah, to be honest, it's been a busy one actually. I know it's always a bit of a mixed opinion, but for us, we've had lots of people down. I've been down on the safe isolation stand.
Yeah.
Lots of people come by.
Yeah.
Lots of people that either recognise you or just just passing by and you just get talking to them about safe isolation. I even had an aircraft engineer, a maintenance engineer. That was an interesting conversation, and he was saying how they isolate using the computer, and it's all digitally isolated. And I was like, that's a bit scary, isn't it? But yeah, that's a
no one
different
into that.
yeah, different world.
Yeah, that's a bit mad.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about work yourself? You've been busy lately?
Really busy. Yeah. It's I don't know what's happened with solar. The sun's come out, and then everyone's just talking about it. And
it's only going to get busier as well.
I think so, definitely.
Like obviously, I jumped on the job with.
Yeah, we were down in Bridgend, weren't we? Yeah, local for you.
Yeah, local for me. We jumped on a job with you and Mark, and I loved it. I did. It was good.
It was fantastic.
It is an hard graft, though. I will give you advice.
I seem to remember you saying a few days later, it's like, I can feel my muscles. And
my knees and all. It's like, fair play. But no, that was a good job. Like. Well, I think it went well anyway.
I think the outcome of that was fantastic. Yeah, I mean, the customer seemed pleased with it. And the panels are still on the roof.
That's always a good sign. So we've done something right then. Yeah. Have you ever had that? Like, you don't have to speak about it if you have, but any jobs gone wrong with solar?
I don't think we've had faults like equipment will fail.
Oh, really? Brand new equipment?
Yeah, it might be a year later. We've had a battery fail probably about 3 weeks. But it's electronic equipment, but that's where your warranties kick in.
How does that work then with, obviously, you've got to go back then and swap that. That's your time. Does that manufacturer then pay your time or anything?
Sometimes, but not. It doesn't really cover so you've got to build that cost in when you cost the job to factor in.
Just in case you've got to go back.
Because you never know as well. That could be 1 year, it could be 5 years later.
Yeah, you don't know, do you?
Yeah, and you want to be there for the customer.
Is it like, have you got like a standard warranty, or is it always different depending on manufacturers you use?
Yeah, each manufacturer has a different warranty. And now some of these panels they're guaranteeing them for 30 years. But that
30 years?
Yeah, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we'll be able to go back in 30 years and do it. I think I'll be sat in a chair by then.
You would have lost a receipt by then.
Yeah, this is it.
That's a bit mad, mate.
Yeah.
That's decent. So how long... I'm guessing like solar panels are starting to come to their life's end now from where it was a bit massive. What was it, 10, 12 years ago?
Yeah, from the early feed-in tariff days. Certainly seen like a lot of these solar farms. Yeah. They're swapping the panels out to get more generation, improve that. Domestically though, those panels, hopefully if they're fitted right, they should well last 25 years really.
And as long as you maintain them, cleaning them and stuff like that.
It's probably more the inverter that might fail because that's the sort of complex electronic
installation. Is it, obviously I jumped at that job probably a good 6-7 months ago now, if not more than that.
Yeah, it was back in the last year, wasn't it?
Yeah. It's as much because I haven't done any solar since that job. It's my own fault. Just it's just one of those things. Has much changed since that job that you've noticed, or in terms of engineering, equipment?
Yeah, with the equipment. So on that one, we fitted the Sigan Energy battery system, and I think that had a couple of 8 kilowatt hour batteries.
Yeah.
Sigan have now just announced they're bringing out a 10 kilowatt hour battery. It's the same size.
Yeah.
So that stack that it was, if you could have 20 kilowatt hours instead of 16 kilowatt hours in that stack, but exactly the same size. So they're improving the capacity, things like that, and then the apps are improving. I don't think there's necessarily been any real new innovations in that time yet, but the app, there's more AI integration and things like that, and smart charging, so it'll look at the weather, it'll look at the electricity prices and decide, well, actually the solar's not going to be so good tomorrow, but overnight you can get cheap rate electricity, so the battery will just charge itself.
Oh, so it'll kind of work it out of what it thinks is best to
That's it, the AI mode,
good. Yeah, that is a best way to save money. Yeah, no, I like that idea. In terms of like the softwares, I am done loads of them, and like I always find them quite confusing. What's the one? I helped a company whose boss who I done work for. I forgot Sync.
SunSync.
I found that app was quite difficult to navigate.
Maybe we shouldn't say my opinions on SunSync.
Oh, okay. Right, okay.
The support is for me it was a pretty bad experience fitting one of their kits. So.
Is it like I just had an LED manufacturer on here, and I openly said, I said, I could not tell you what are the good brands and what are the bad brands. No. I said, there's so many. I said, I'm literally lost in that world of lighting. Yeah, and for me, it's the same with solar, but that's because I don't do it. Is there like good, can you differentiate between the good and bad brands?
Definitely. So like Sigan Energy Fitted, that's a brilliant brand.
Okay.
Solar Edge, that's
that one.
Yeah, I do a lot of Solar Edge, and that I really like that kit, and they've got a good warranty system behind that.
Yeah.
Another one is Alpha ESS. They do a really good battery system, and the support is local UK support. Really good guys behind that, and that's important. Yeah. So I fitted a few of theirs. Really like that.
Is it? We won't ask too many questions now, but is there much changes that you know that's coming around solar in terms of like regulations and stuff like that? So I know the new amendments coming out next year.
That's it.
Like that.
And also behind the scenes of that, I think there's a lot of industry conversations going. Like we had the PAS document last year that was saying about putting batteries in lofts, things like that, and saying that actually batteries should be outside. There's lots of conversations going on around that at the moment. I know Mark Allison at Powersonic, who we're working with in Apprentice 1-to-1, he was actually talking to industry yesterday. He did a presentation about all the problems that we're seeing as installers out there, and the consequences of these, including like fires, should it go really badly wrong. So there's a lot of conversations going on behind the scenes, and I think there is a lot that's going to come out next year.
It's so hard unless you do it day in, day out. I feel like I jumped on that job 8 months ago. It felt like I've learned loads and I feel like I know what I'm doing. Then 8 months gone by and I just feel like it's changed already, and trying to keep up.
It's the same in I try and stay away from the domestic work now. The rewires bring dread to my ears, and because you just can't keep up with everything, can you?
No, unless you do it, I suppose. It's one of those things. All right, last question. What's your worst install you've come across solar-wise?
Oh wow, that must have been start of this year. We were in the Lake District and with Dan at DMH Electrical.
Yeah.
And literally hit that install. I think the original installers had been back 3 times.
Okay.
And then they'd gone bust. And then Dan got the call and said, my panels are flapping on the roof.
No way.
They're literally crashing. This guy could not sit in his living room because these panels were banging in the wind.
Bloody hell, we just haven't fixed them down to the rafters.
It was a slate roof, and they just used fixings where they screw straight through the slate. But they'd missed the rafters on half of these fixings. There's some videos on my Instagram, and Dan's YouTube's got a fantastic video about this install. And literally, we were picking.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it wasn't fixed to the roof.
Is that normal? Because I remember when I was asking you about slate, and you're saying that you got like certain tools to get them up, and they're difficult to work with. Is that normal now to just drill straight through the slate, or is that a bad way to do it?
It is a terrible way to do it, but there's a system out there for it, and don't do it that way. Honestly, if you saw this video, you would be horrified. I'll send you a link.
Yeah, show me. It just blows my mind. There's so much obviously crap work out there. But
and I think we're going to see a bit more of it, unfortunately.
Yeah. So is that because people are just doing like solar courses now, and just all they do is like?
I think a little bit of that. Yeah, they do the course and then think, right, I can go and do solar now, which is great that more people are getting into it. But if they've not had that skill set and that experience like you had on the roof to actually know what's the right way of doing it, you kind of like fumble your way through it. Think, that might be all right, might not. But then when these things blow off the roof, it causes quite
big issues. Or not even like I've seen how dangerous not doing the connections right on the MC4.
Oh yeah, did you see that video? I did. Yeah. That even shocked me. That was two solar panels.
Okay.
And just arcing the connections, and the flame that was coming out of that, it shocked me.
You know what some people are like? They're not crimping it properly. They're not double checking, and there is going to be so many fires in there. I don't want to be negative. I try not to be negative.
Unfortunately. So I mean, a lot of the message I'm trying to get out there is, I'm more than happy to show someone the right way to do it. And just if you're not sure, just ask.
That's the best way. All right, last question. Where do we see Mike and what's happening in the next 5 years? Each renewables.
5 years.
Still on the roof?
If I don't fall off. That's another good point. I have decent scaffolding.
Yeah.
I'd like to hope so. Actually, I said 2 years ago I've got probably 10 years on the tools left in me, and yeah, I'd like to see that 10 years.
Retiring then, or is it more you're going to go more a different way?
I think I'd still like to be involved in the solar and the renewables side.
Yeah.
Really, I'm absolutely so interested in that right now. But I can't see myself being lugging those panels up and down the roof in 10 years' time.
Heavy.
So it might be that one of my sons can step up to the plate, but who knows? Yeah.
In the office. Yeah, no, I like it. I appreciate you coming on the podcast as well. Obviously, taking your time off a safe isolation stand, which is just as important.
Yeah, no, it's been absolutely brilliant over there, and thanks for coming over as well.
Yeah, no worries. Always happy to help. So, cheers, guys, and we'll see you. Shout out to the socials first. Go and get them in. Go and follow East Renewables.
East Renewables on Instagram. That's where it's most happening on there.
Cool. No, cheers, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.